Hello guys. So let's see here. Oh my god. Let's see. 42.5 minutes of drama. I was one of the first to, not one of the first, but I condemned ProJared in the past. I liked his videos in the past, but then he like did something. Wait, let me just raise my microphone too. Yeah, he did some shit and he got called out for it pretty hard. He lost a ton of subscribers. I think it was around 250,000. Like a 1/4 of his total. So I wanted to give this not a chance, because some of the things he did was pretty fucked up. But I at least wanted to watch it and see if it's a good apology video. This video will be long. It will probably be about an hour of me just watching stuff. If you don't like that, you don't have to watch it. But I will upload. I'm gonna watch it. And I kind of need some energy to do that. So let me just recharge my mana for a bit. There we go. Let's see here then. I might change that. And we're off.
Hey, it's me. And I was lied to. And so are you. It's been a tumultuous last few months, to say the least. And I don't know how else to describe what I watched other than sheer disbelief. For those of you who are unaware, a few months ago, some individuals circulated serious accusations against me. And I want to make it perfect.
Let me just pause that and say yes, I agree with that statement. It was a lot of allegations. Yeah, there were a lot of things, but let's see. It was an okay start.
Perfectly clear right now. They are false. And I have proof. I have the receipts. I know a lot of people have been wondering why I've been silent and why it's taken me 3 months to say something.
Yes.
Serious allegations need to be taken seriously. I spent this entire time talking to as many people as I could. Lawyers, law experts, officials, anyone.
That's pretty
And
nice.
I wasn't going to do anything until I was certain that it would be safe to talk about. Thankfully, it is. So here I am. Besides, I saw how the internet responded. 3 months ago, I was demonized and dehumanized. People were understandably angry. And the few things I did try to post were met with outrage. And a few people who tried to speak out on my behalf were threatened into silence. And they only stopped out of fear. Fear of the internet. And what I'm hoping for now is that at least a few people are willing to listen. I mean, you're here, so thank you for hearing me out. And I've already seen a lot of posts.
Okay, pretty strong start. And I agree with him. There were a lot of allegations. Some of the people that defended him, while doing so stupidly, let me just say, Peanut Butter Gamer, later changed their minds when the proof came out. And well, it's hard to deny that some stuff happened. So let's hear him out. He apparently has done some things to work on himself, and he's actually been taking this seriously, and I hope this video will show it.
It's from people telling me to move on or that the tea is cold. I'm sorry that this is no longer entertaining for them, but just because they're bored of it doesn't mean that the harassment stopped or that the story is final and over. What this all came down to was people saying that I was exchanging nudes with fans on Snapchat and Tumblr. And a lot of people want to know if I did any of that. Yeah, I did. And I always made it clear that it was for consenting adults only. This came about when numerous people had asked me about it and wanted to know if it was okay to do. I said yes, that it would be a safe place for people who wish to express themselves in that way and for me to express myself in that way. It was an open invitation for those who wanted to do it, and that I wouldn't be offended or upset, and that nothing would be shared or saved without explicit permission. To be clear, it was an open invitation to those who wanted to participate. The choice was always up to them. At no point did I ever go through my followers list and single out individuals or screen names and pursue them. I never did that.
Okay, to his credit, he never actually did hang out these people. To his credit, he never said who these people are. They themselves did so. Well, it was nice of him to not put them in the limelight, so to speak. He also admits to doing this, so fair enough, we'll see.
I always left it.
Also, he was very clear it was 18 plus. He wrote it numerous times, and I know, or I really feel like those who sent him nudes who were underage knew this, but yet they lied about it. We'll see.
Choice up to them. Let them choose to engage or not, to initiate or have nothing at all. I made a conscious effort to treat everyone with the same respect, always. And I see no shame what goes on between consenting adults. It was never meant to be an abuse of power. I never offered anyone anything in return, like making them a Twitch mod or early access to a YouTube video or whatever. I also never threatened anyone any kind of punishment if they didn't or anything like that. However, I want to acknowledge now that there was a power imbalance. That comes down to who I am and what I do. Even if there was nothing offered in return, there was still incentive for people to do it because I am a YouTuber. It doesn't matter how neutral the intent was, just being in this position causes a power imbalance. And a lot of people saw that and were upset at me for that reason. And to those of you who feel that way, I completely understand how you feel and why you feel that way. And I'm sorry. I feel that...
Okay, that was an honest sorry. You can see it in his face and his expressions that it was an honest sorry. When I watch these kinds of videos, I usually look very much at their expressions, where they look with their eyes, if they're thinking or if they're lying. You usually see these kinds of things even subtly or very clearly. So far, he seems pretty honest. There has been some things that I think he's not really certain of, so to speak. And while I'm at it, his wife apparently knew about this Tumblr posts, the nudes he got. He even showed some of them to her, and she was like, okay, we'll see.
What I was doing was not predatory, but it was unhealthy. But that isn't the main grievance that everyone has with me. It's the other allegations by these two. They're both named Charlie, which...
Okay, so now he he hangs them out. I think it's pretty fine at this point, if he has proof. At that time, obviously he didn't want to hang them out, because, yeah, I respect him for that. So let's see if he has some proof.
Which is going to be confusing. So for the one from the UK, I'm going to use his nickname, which is Chai. Their tweets were some serious accusations, and I'll go over them, but they both basically boil down to the same thing. That they were underage, that I knew this, and that I was okay with it, and encouraged them to interact with me. I'm going to show you exactly how these accusations are inaccurate or just flat out lies. The key word that they allege is that I did all of this knowingly and intentionally, which is false. For example, if we go to Chai's accusations, we can see that... never mind. He deleted his accusations. Well, that's okay, because we can still go to Charlie's Twitter, and we can see that... Oh, wait. They deleted theirs, too. This is the equivalent of firing a gun and then trying to hide it while it's still smoking. And for the record, they both deleted their tweets shortly after their narratives were questioned. You know, posted out there just long enough. But that's okay. Like I said, I have the receipts. The most prominent accusation...
I feel like this will be kinda good. Okay, here's the first. Sexual abuse, underage sexual abuse. ProJared sexually manipulated me via Tumblr when I was 16. I believe Heidi and I believe every other victim. Feel free to retweet to spread awareness of his actions. I won't be answering any questions. Not today. Okay, which is fine, but it's a serious allegation, especially without proof.
Accusation was the first one from Chai. I'm going to make this available for everyone to read, but I'm just going to paraphrase for now. What it claims is that he had sent me nudes while telling me he was only 16, and I said that I was okay with that and continued to spur him on. It's also important to note that he states that he has no evidence of us ever interacting.
And here's where he fails in his accusations, in my opinion. I cannot provide proof. Okay, let's see if Jared has some.
So all we have to go on is his word. And in an instance such as this, where he has no evidence, my word is just as valid as his. And
word against
here's
word.
The thing with that. I don't remember ever talking to this person. None of what he claims sounds familiar to my memory at all. The actions he describes doesn't sound like something I would ever do. Nothing in it sounds right or familiar. And through everything that I scoured with any and all possible correspondences that I could have access to, I found nothing with Chai whatsoever. What this leaves us with is his word versus mine, which gets us nowhere. And as the internet has shown me, people are more likely to believe whoever fires first on Twitter. After all, why else would he accuse me?
Twitter is a cesspool of fucking imbeciles.
My word is, I don't remember this even happening or even talking.
You know what? That was dumb of me. It's not retardation. Because even retards would know that it's not okay to just throw shit out there accusing everybody of something they maybe haven't done, etc, etc. But Twitter is Twitter, and it's fucking shit. Even YouTube is better than Twitter. Fight me.
To this person, and Chai's word is that all of this did happen. So rather than making it Chai's word versus mine, it should be Chai's word versus Chai's word. In his accusations, Chai sets the time frame for when all of this supposedly happened, early 2016, specifically sometime between March and July. This is all very important. He also makes it clear that this happened sometime before my personal Tumblr account that he supposedly interacted with me on was hacked and deleted. And my Tumblr was hacked. I can confirm that. There are even tweets to timestamp when that happened, which is mid-May 2016. This puts the time frame based on his claims sometime between March 2016 and May 2016. Again, this is all very important. Are you familiar with the website medium.com? It's a website in which people can write articles and blog posts for public viewing. Chai has quite a few of them on there, and a couple of them are relevant to this situation, especially this one, titled I've been disabled for 2 years. I'm not going to read every part of it because not everything in here is pertinent, but I'll make a link available so that if you want, you can read through all of it.
That's also very important that he leaves a link so we can confirm it ourselves, we can read it ourselves. It's very important in these types of matters to create your own opinion instead of fencing. Either fence riding, to say that you don't want to create any opinion, which is fine, or that's not fence riding, but that you don't want to be involved, or that you take either side. The same applies if you have friends in real life that shit talks another person which you haven't met. I usually just say, well, let me just create my own opinion of them before just accepting their word as truth. Let's see.
The 9th of November 2015 is the most notable date in my life and always will be. Most people remember their wedding day or their 18th birthday or the day someone close to them died. For me, I remember the day of my accident. We were playing basketball. I loved basketball. My height was my downfall. As it turned out, I was running to try and get the ball from someone. I ran, boom. I fell down hard, landing on my knees and snapping my head forward so that my forehead smacked against the floor. It was almost the end of the lesson, so I asked to be excused to the changing room. The rest of the class came in and we all started getting changed. That's the last thing I properly remember until about 6 months later. As we were changing, I apparently fainted, landing hard on the concrete floor and smashing the back of my head off of it. I was taken to a hospital, admitted to the children's ward, given an EEG, an MRI, a cardiogram. I was tentatively told that I had axonal brain damage, and after a couple of days, sent home. Cue another passing out, another hospitalization. I passed out again while in the hospital. At this point in my life, I was sleeping for around 16 to 18 hours per day. I had to stop going to school and was essentially bedbound. Along with the pain came voices, hallucinations. I didn't notice them so much at first or attributed them to being so tired, seeing a spider when there was none or a flash of light. Then things got a bit more intense. Kill someone, stab your mom, grab that steak knife and stick it in his back. I was terrified of myself. All day, every day, I was plagued with thoughts of violence and aggression. They got harder and harder to ignore. Listing your symptoms over and over gets pretty exhausting. Fatigue, severe head pain, spasms of pain, extremely bad short-term memory, big gaps in long-term memory, no concentration, occasionally passing out, psychosis. Cut forward to August 2016. The psychosis was getting worse. One night, I walked downstairs, opened the living room door, and told my mom that she needed to take me to the hospital because if she didn't, I'd kill her. Literally kill her. The nights I spent in the hospital for psychosis were the worst nights of my life. My miracle came a few days into my hospital stay. After about 5 minutes of terrible, awful, exhausting pain, it stopped. I released my whole body. Something felt different. It was silent. The voices had gone. In his own article, Chai states that he suffered a traumatic brain injury and has no memory for 6 months, from November 2015 up until May 2016.
Or at least big gaps in memory.
He continued to have hallucinations and psychosis up until August 2016. And if you are not familiar with psychosis, psychosis is an abnormal condition of the mind that results in difficulties determining what is real and what is not. Symptoms may include false beliefs and seeing or hearing things that others do not see or hear, aka hallucinations. To reiterate, Chai's accusation was that the things I supposedly did happened between March 2016 and May 2016.
In his own words.
Chai also states that he has no memory during this exact same period and hallucinations continuing until August 2016. My word was that I don't remember ever talking to this person, recognizing them, or finding the behavior that they described as something that I would even do. So, I ask you to draw your own conclusion here. Did this actually happen? There is a possibility to consider that the hospital stay and the memory loss isn't true. That it was made up to garner sympathy. And if that's the case, how can we trust Chai's story about me? And if the hospital stay and memory loss story is true, how can we trust Chai's story about me? Again, I ask you, did his claims actually happen? I'll offer one final piece of...
You know what? It sounds pretty... Okay, we'll see.
My Tumblr was hacked. The hacker was seeking to deal as much damage as possible. They were posting really grotesque things, rapid fire. They had full access to my posts, to my inbox, and to my private messages. If they were seeking to deal as much damage as possible, they would have gone through my private conversations and leaked damaging things. But nothing was leaked. Again, I ask you, do you still feel that Chai's claims against me, beyond a reasonable doubt, actually happened? Something that is important to know.
Okay, so here's the thing. I can't really say that they didn't happen. Because in the end, okay, it's Chai's word versus Jared's word. But it's also Chai's word against Chai's word. And in his own words, he had long-term memory loss, short-term memory loss, psychosis and other stuff. In his own words, okay? So that's very important. And if it's like he says, I find it very hard to believe. But again, it's not impossible that this happened. So
note is the way Chai and Charlie made their statements. They used a logical fallacy known as poisoning the well. It's a tactic in which, before you are presented with information, you are given subtext, opinions, or other irrelevant information to negatively affect your opinion about something before you find out what the something is. In other words, to manipulate you. And it worked on everybody. Charlie's accusations quickly followed Chai's. They had their own story posted to Twitter, and it had very similar claims that they were underage, that they interacted with me, and that I never even asked them for their age. Charlie was able to back up their accusations by posting several screenshots of our messages onto Twitter. Like I just mentioned, each screenshot is accompanied with them providing subtext and opinions to poison the well before you even look at it. Unlike Chai, I actually do remember talking to Charlie. It seemed familiar, but what they were saying didn't sound right. All of these images and poisoned well tactics that they posted on Twitter are the exact same things that they had emailed out to business associates of mine. I'm going to go more into that in a little bit, but basically they emailed people that I know with these exact same screenshots and said the same things pretty much verbatim as to what they put on Twitter. This is relevant because this is one of the screens they put on Twitter. And this is the exact same screen included in those emails. Only Charlie's Tumblr name isn't redacted. Now, because they have these, it's very clear that Charlie had access to our entire conversation on Tumblr, and they would have been able to see everything. But they still chose to only show carefully selected and carefully cropped images. This was done to make me look as bad as possible and to mislead you. For example, if Charlie would have shown the very start of our messages, you would have seen where Charlie lied. To clear up the immediate confusion as to why my screenshot has a different profile picture for me in it, is because I had updated my profile picture sometime in February or March of this year. It's the same profile picture that's over on my Twitch page. All this means is that Charlie had taken the screen caps sometime before I updated my profile picture.
Fair enough.
Every single part of Charlie's allegations against me hinges on the belief that I didn't know their age and or didn't ask. They even argued that I should have known their age because they used the phrase, "I am a baby," as if this somehow denotes how old they generally are, even though it's used in a context of shyness or feeling intimidated. And I did ask their age, and they lied.
Okay, that's definite proof. If it's not edited in any way, you know, the best way he could actually show this is directly on his computer, mobile, whatever. But if that's not edited, it's really bad, because heck, I have a ton of nudes, but I usually don't send them to people. Real quick, you're 18 plus, question mark. Okay, so he asked. Oh yeah, of course. Have to be certain. I wouldn't be sending nudes if I weren't. Let's see.
They also clearly knew then that they were doing something they know they shouldn't, and is doing something they know I'm not okay with. They had...
That's your boys. When your friend says you says you don't approve of them. Because I was scared he wouldn't talk to me, I explained why I engaged in the first place. Please read the book. I said I didn't have proof of this old blog since it was deleted. I have a ton of evidence. Okay.
Full access to the entire conversation, and omitted to all of you that they lied to me, deceiving all of you. They knew about this from the get-go, which is why on Twitter they immediately began to backpedal on their claims, changing their tone.
Like I said in the post, he didn't know I was underage. I feel like it was implied, but he never asked. It's never implied. Like, some people look 18 and they can be almost 30. I have friends that I know that is this way, and some people look older than they are.
I didn't say he knew my age, I said he was predatory. Predatory behavior would be targeting an individual and pursuing after them, often repeatedly. And as Charlie had access to our whole conversation, they saw it was them who continued.
There we got to thank you for these. They're excellent. Thanks, love. I'm glad you liked them. Also, I'm really sorry for what happened to your home. That's so awful and you don't deserve it. Hey, remember me?
Continued to initiate conversations with me unprompted numerous times.
Damn, so fresh. Hey, this makes me so happy. Can I send some more stuff? Yeah. Okay.
Times for months along. But Charlie chose to omit that. And when they spoke with the Daily Beast, they lied in the interview about me never asking for their age. When I did, so this is libel. Knabenbauer could have asked for my ID, and they could have not lied. This isn't about whether or not they remembered if I asked them or not. It's that they knew that I asked because they clearly had access to all of our messages and saw the truth.
This can be pretty dangerous, because especially if they've been interviewed and they have false accusations, that can be used in a court of law as evidence, and it's very dangerous and it can be legally binding. So yeah, don't lie.
This does bring up the question, why didn't I ask for people's IDs? And the answer is because that would be asking people to dox themselves, which seems far more risky. Besides, there's no way to verify IDs, and it's very easy for people to Photoshop up one in minutes. And if someone is going to lie to get somewhere, they're going to lie. By the way, Charlie also would have seen that in our entire conversation, I never sent them a dick pic. So all these beliefs that Jared sent nudes to minors is factually untrue. Even the claims that I was manipulative or coerced them are untrue, because I made it consistently clear, as I did with everyone else, that it was their choice if...
Fucking cringe-worth text, but oh well. Like, I used to watch ProJared's videos before, and some of his stuff is really, really great. Even if I always felt that his character, his personality is a bit narcissistic. Not full-on narcissistic, but a bit narcissistic. I still feel like he's a pretty nice guy. He does some great stuff. And I respect him so much for not sharing any nudes or whatever to anyone other than maybe his wife, which is, in my opinion, fine. The image of him is still damaged. I have seen his dick. Unfortunately, I have. And it's... It's gonna be hard to wipe that off my memory.
They wanted to every time. More accurately, it was Charlie who manipulated me and all of you with their lies. These allegations against me about being a predator against underage people are fundamentally false. Charlie and Chai began making these accusations against me back at the end of March, beginning of April this year. They were smearing my name back then by sending an email out with everything that you've seen already. And the first people they sent these accusations out to was the Game Grumps. Not the police or law enforcement or the person I was married to at the time, but the Game Grumps. This can be easily proven with the tweet Chai made to Aaron Hansen of the Game Grumps at the end of March about the email. This Twitter account of Chai's was suspended shortly after for harassment. Sometime around April 2nd, the Game Grumps privated every single video they've ever done with me because they believed the poisoned well and didn't ask me about it. The next day, I was shown the email, and honestly, even I believed it. None of it sounded right to me, but if they were saying this, I must have done this, right? It must be true. So, I apologized to them. It upset Charlie and Chai that I got in contact with them and tried to apologize. They called my...
He claims he struggles to remember the chats in any capacity, thus making it seem like I'm making it up. However, he still apologized for that behavior. Did he or didn't he remember it? This message just kind of confirms Heidi's statement that Jared is manipulative. I'd also like to question why I thought it was okay to reach out to people alleging he had solicized nudes for them while underage. Like, what? You didn't. Okay, I can only see the first part of the message, but it's... I apologize for making you uncomfortable. One of the individuals that you emailed chose to speak to me on the matter, and this is how I got into contact with you. Something.
My apology manipulative. So here's the thing. I apologized to them because they wanted me to. Let's go back to the email that they sent out to the Game Grumps. Ooh. At the very end, Chai and Charlie state in that email that ideally they'd like me to always check the age of the people I'm talking to sexually.
Which you did.
Which I did. And to apologize to Chai and Charlie. So I did. But now let's look at the email that they sent to Normal Boots a couple of days later. Scroll down to the very same section and they deleted the part where they wanted me to apologize. They then weaponized my apology against me on Twitter after asking for it. That is literally manipulation. Now when this all broke out publicly, Normal Boots did post a statement.
Sent to normal business account containing allegations of inappropriate conduct pertaining to Jared Knabenbauer. Upon receiving the email, Normal Boots manager Jack Khalil took blah 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 blah. Fair enough. Mutually agreed to part ways, which is very important. He wasn't kicked. They mutually agreed to. Which is a nice gesture. It's a good thing that they agreed to part ways. What the fuck? That they agreed to this. Because I think he knows that being on the internet and being a huge YouTuber or bigger YouTuber or personality on the internet, you have business partners often. You have those that help you with stuff, and you always have some connections. And if your name is tarnished, so are theirs in some capacity, which I think he tried to I think he tried to split from them so to only receive the blame himself, which I hope he did.
That I was no longer a part of their team. I was not fired. I resigned so that everyone else at Normal Boots wouldn't get dragged down with me. I was already
Exactly what I was saying, pretty much. That he himself took on all the blame.
seeing the negativity in all of their videos, and some of them started losing subscribers. I left in the hopes that they wouldn't take any more additional collateral damage. The last thing I want to note about this email is that Chai and Charlie made it clear that they worked on it together, and Charlie lied about their claims. This doesn't automatically disprove Chai, but their close friendship and one of them being a liar does cast further doubt on Chai's claims, especially since he has no evidence. How can we trust Chai when his cohort Charlie was already lying? Something I've been trying to figure out through all of this is, why would they even do this? Why make such dishonest claims? And for as much as I have mulled it over, I can only come down to the most logical conclusion, which is also the simplest: money and attention. It's very clear that they both adore attention and desired it from the internet, and especially from the Game Grumps.
Which isn't wrong inherently, but the way they did it maybe was.
Both of them are massive fans of the Grumps. This is really easy to see from Chai having another article on Medium about meeting your idols and talks about meeting the Game Grumps the entire time. Charlie has another Tumblr called Ego Banged, dedicated to sexual fantasies of Dan and Aaron, fan fictions, fan art, and discussions of them having sex with each other, along with Charlie talking about their own sexual experiences. Desires and fantasies, which also contradicts their claim of being inexperienced.
Girlfriend has a dick, by the way.
Innocent, or a baby. Charlie even tweeted at Ross of the Game Grumps about watching a gay porn with an actor who looks just like him in 2015. The grab for attention ultimately proved successful. Both of them got a large influx of new Twitter followers, as even denoted by Charlie, and it was even better for Chai since his previous Twitter account just got suspended. It even got them the attentions of their idols that they adored, and all of this gives them clout and social credits.
Sorry for that.
Credits that give them a degree of having a form of notoriety and believability and admiration for taking down the bad guy. They both were aware of this and tried to capitalize on it. While all the drama was going on, Chai tweeted out links to his Amazon wish list, his PayPal, and to his coffee, and kept it pinned there for weeks.
Really?
He even tweeted about it again at the end of May. Charlie's pinned tweet, and it's still there, is a link to their commissions page for art, and on this page is a link for donations, which goes straight to their PayPal. This isn't a coincidence. They've both shown a repeated behavior of e-begging. There's a tweet Charlie made to Chai's now suspended Twitter account last year about Chai suddenly becoming famous and how he should link his PayPal. Going back for a moment to Charlie's ego-banged porn blog, they've posted on there asking for commissions in May of 2017, and again the next month, only this time asking for direct donations. This post asking for money got near 1,400 notes, which is huge for Tumblr, all while saying, "Help me, I'm a baby." This shows that e-begging can be successful. Asking for money or asking for commissions to draw porn. Chai and Charlie...
You know what? Asking for commissions is fine, because you actually get something in return. E-begging? No. Do something with your life. You think I get money from doing YouTube? from my almost 600,000 views. You know how much money I've got so far? You know? Well, no. Zero money. I do it for the fun. Everybody should, first and foremost. It's fine to make money of it. Do it for the fun and the passion.
They were not the only accusations of inappropriate behavior that came out. As all of this was unfolding, Pamela Horton tweeted out her own statements. I will discuss those as well. If you're not familiar with Pamela, she is currently a member of the YouTube channel Toaster Ghost and was formerly a model for Playboy's Gamer Next Door. Her statement alleges that at a Nintendo event in early 2015 that both she and I were attending, I looked up her nudes and forcefully showed them to a group of gentlemen also attending the event. The event she's speaking of was a special preview event for the first Splatoon game when it was going to be released for the Wii U, which is also where Pamela and I first met. This is confirmed by Amelia Talon, a coworker of Pamela's at Playboy, who I also met there for the first time. When I first saw this, I had no idea what she was talking about. I don't remember doing anything of that sort that entire weekend. Again, this isn't something I would do. It was really confusing considering the numerous occasions after this event that Pamela and I were both at and were very friendly and amicable. I never had any sense of discomfort or disapproval from her. So I had to ask other people what she's even talking about just to find out what she was referring to. This statement was written in such a way as to make it seem as if she was present during the supposed instance and witnessed it, which she was not. She also left out a lot of details so that the story couldn't be verified, such as the gentleman in question. So, I'll name them. Gerard the Completionist, another person who requested to remain anonymous, and Matt Sohinki, formerly of Smosh Games and now of Toaster Ghost. I'm saying I didn't do this. The anonymous person said he doesn't remember me doing this. Gerard said he doesn't remember me doing this and knows it's not something that I would do, which leads me to believe that Pamela heard about this from Sohinki. So of the 4 gentlemen present, 3 of the 4 say it didn't happen. I will tell you what I do remember happening.
You know what? Maybe I don't trust ProJared completely, because this story sounds kinda... He doesn't have proof so far, it's just word. But I will say that Gerard he's a nice guy, even if I don't really watch his videos that much. I liked his personal channel very much, but he kind of stopped doing that, and yeah. But I still have huge respect for him, because he puts in a lot of work into his YouTube channel, together with his friends and stuff. So he's a hard-working guy, and he has passion for what he does and games and stuff, and I kind of trust him. So let's see.
While the 4 of us gentlemen were hanging out in one of our hotel rooms one of the evenings, somebody had mentioned that Pamela has a Bayonetta cosplay. I believe it was Sohinki who mentioned that, but I'm unsure on that detail. At the time, I had a vested interest in cosplay due to my relationship with a cosplayer. So I remember
he's even
looking
cosplayed
up
some
Pamela's
himself, I think.
costume. And I remember being audibly excited after I realized I had just seen Pamela as Bayonetta at E3 2014, where she was modeling the costume promoting Bayonetta 2 for the Wii U.
You know what? I remember I've seen this cosplay before, and I thought it looked real nice around that time.
I think this whole thing was a misunderstanding or misremembrance. I know what I did not do. I did not scour the internet for her nudes and then forcefully show them to a friend of mine and 2 strangers at the time. But that's not the end of her accusations. She goes on to talk about how I continued to show her disrespect, refusing to shake her hand, and making lewd comments about her and ignoring her in a group setting.
What?
Again, these details are vague, and again, I don't know what she's talking about. I had to ask around just to find out what she was even referring to. And what I found out was that she was specifically referring to my behavior at E3 a few years ago during a panel that consisted of myself, Pamela, and MatPat. Here's the thing with that. I've never done a panel with MatPat. I've never done a panel with Pamela. I've never done a panel with MatPat and Pamela together. I've never done a panel at E3. This couldn't have happened because the circumstances in which they did don't exist. And if you don't believe me on that, that's okay. Ask MatPat, a third party there supposedly present when this happened. And if it does exist, please find it. If it was done at E3, it was recorded or live streamed and saved somewhere. Please find it.
You know what? I agree. If it was done during E3, it's recorded somewhere, okay? Because E3, people are recording everywhere. They're recording trailers, they're recording panels, they're recording the floor, just walking around the floor and stuff. They're recording everything. So if she's referring to this event, E3, the recordings are out there, okay? That's just hard facts.
I would love to see it because I don't know what she's talking about. If it exists, I will gladly eat my words and apologize. But I know that it doesn't. I have to admit here that I don't personally know Pamela that well. We've hung out a few social gatherings while I was in Los Angeles, and we were always cordial with each other. However, I don't believe that Pamela is a liar. I think this is something that probably actually happened to her, and she was treated with some amount of disrespect, but she's putting me in the place of someone who actually treated her.
You know what? I agree with that statement, because as I was listening to this earlier, when she said she blah 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 was disrespected and stuff, I immediately thought that some people usually do these kinds of things. They insert other people into a certain scenario and then they believe themselves when it isn't how it happened or what happened. Because I myself have been a victim to this, and it sucks because you can't really do anything. It's like, now I'll hate you forever, or if you've done something bad, you can't do anything about it either way because you didn't do it. It's very annoying, to say the least.
This way. I am choosing to believe that she isn't just making stuff up. The outrage and the response of the internet was formed entirely by misinformation and by using false equality, by saying, well, this part is true, therefore this part must also be true.
Okay, that makes sense.
People ran with a narrative formed by layers upon layers of accusations.
You know what? At first I didn't believe him. I think he got what he deserved. And I was one of the few who watched his decline. I was happy about it, because at the time I hadn't followed Heidi either. I hadn't followed... what's his name? Hollis ex-husband? I don't know. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Or Holly before either. I had seen some cosplays of Heidi, and yeah, she seemed like an honest, genuine woman. So I kinda just believed everything straight away. So, but then I followed Heidi for a while afterwards on Twitter, of course, and she just kept piling on and on and on, and everything got worse. And she had been, she just piled on for her stories. Like, she had been for years, she had suffered, and her friends around had seen her suffer, and yada yada. And it's just, at a certain point it became like, even if this is true, can you stop with the victimizing yourself? Because it's very annoying. We understand it fucking sucks. We should do something about it instead of just writing it on Twitter. Which she didn't, of course. I'm not saying she's a total liar. I believe she's not an evil person through and through. But so far I know that she knew about his Tumblr, for example. She knew about the nudes and stuff. And she was content with it. That's all I say about that. I don't know which side in this specific scenario is right or wrong, so we'll see.
Without facts. This was perpetuated until it became the truth. But it wasn't the truth. And that didn't matter. It wasn't important if it was true or not. A mob was beating me down, and everyone jumped in on it. Everyone wanted to show that they had the moral high ground by kicking me while I was down, tweeting memes, clown emojis, and jokes to essentially virtue signal that they are somehow better than me, without all the facts, all for the congratulations of anonymous internet strangers. YouTubers that I've never even heard of and who I imagine never heard of me lashed out at me and made jokes at my expense. Some of them harassed me overtly, others did it subtly. But let's call it what it really is. It's bullying. Imagine them walking down the street and seeing a group of people beating someone down to the ground to the point that he's helpless and immobile. And without even knowing anything of the situation or what the truth even is, they joined in on it. Just so that they could feel better than the person they were punching down on. What was amazing?
Pretty much how the internet works today, or life in general. Like, it's so common to just pile on, bring other people down just so you can feel better about yourself. It's very, very common. It happens a lot with men who tries to get women and like, oh, you're hot, can we go out please? And when they say, at the very least, they can say worse things, but they're like, oh, fuck you, you're a piece of blah blah blah, because they didn't, the other person, the women in this case, didn't reciprocate their feelings, so they lash out and try to push them down to feel better about themselves. It's very common.
Was seeing the sheer amount of coverage on drama YouTube channels, dozens of them all weighing in from a supposed neutral stance. Not one of them tried to reach out to me. Not one of them tried to ask me, hey, is any of this true? What's your side of the story?
You know what, it's kind of ironic that a lot of YouTubers, especially some people, Philly, other news news YouTubers, they complain about news outlets that just run with the story, that accept lies and other stuff in their stories. They lie about things, just push it out for the views, when they fucking themselves do it all the time. Don't get me started, we'll leave it at that. But they're in the same boat.
They aren't interested in truth or being fair. They wanted clicks. And because of that, they further perpetuated misinformation and stirred up a mob. I already know people are moving their goalposts so that they can continue to condemn me by saying, oh, well, he's still a cheater. No cheating happened. I told my wife of the time that I no longer wanted to be with her in October of 2018. I was refused. I was told no. I was denied. I had my career threatened. I felt controlled. I sought therapists and lawyers to assist in separating. We tried discernment therapy, to no avail. I have texts from that time that show...
Due to ongoing proceedings, I'm unable to show this text at this time. It's a shame, because I really like to see him, but if there's legal implications, then it may be hard to show them. But it's also one of those, should I just trust his words? Should I trust Hades' side? It's very hard without any evidence.
Oh, I was refused, and that it was just going to be taken as a warning. And I have texts between myself and a professional third party.
Needs a space for my what's going on. Anything you can share with me that would be... I'm not sure how to respond to it. I was under the impression that we were using this time to get space. Times they just let know you're around. Would that be okay for you? Yeah, but I feel like the test I get, I usually ask him for something from me or something that I'm not able to provide. I shut down in response. Well, he's honest about that. Okay, so from his side, he feels pretty much he needs space, which is fine. And Heidi, despite the way she is portrayed, maybe she just wants the relationship to work, the marriage to work. Well, what do I know?
Well aware of the entire situation, that shows I was trying to end it.
What do you want to do? I want to end it. Just make it really hard for you to make that move. Oh, from the therapist. What does separate look like, Louise? From me helping her move out, finding a place, buying her a car, opening her own bank, etc. Okay, that's pretty nice of him. A lot of people these days, they take what they can get and they done. That's why I'm so thankful for a certain person when we split. That I helped her with stuff. I asked, do you want this? Because I don't need this anymore. With furniture and stuff, and it's the right thing to do when you break up. You do it in a grown-up way. You share things. You take the things you own before. Just talk about it. Just be adults about it. I want to help. I don't know how, blah, blah, blah. But I want to help. I don't know how, but I know that she will threaten to commit suicide and beg you not to do it, which is going to be incredibly difficult for you and put you in an even more terrible situation. Very common when breaking up and one person doesn't want the other to leave, that they threaten to suicide.
Around that time.
Shame.
Holly is being called a homewrecker, which is such an antiquated term, and it makes it seem like that I had no power or choice or agency in my own relationship, which is not true. It was my choice to not be in that relationship anymore.
You can see it's very insecure even when talking about it right now, which is fine. But it's something he obviously have thought about a lot, spoke about a lot, thought about a lot.
And Holly didn't cheat on Ross. Ross knows literally everything.
Ross, that's the name.
He knew everything that was going on with me and Holly. He knew everything that was going on with my personal relationship. Ross even flew up to see me in March of 2018 to support me. He had some other goals that weekend, but he did make it a point to see me, to encourage me, and to support me.
Ross sounds like an amazing dude. I need to check his YouTube later. He seems like such a genuine guy.
And Ross moved out and left Holly while she was away at PAX West last year. So to say that she cheated on him is wholly inaccurate. And quite frankly, none of that should matter. breakups happen.
That's
Sometimes
fair enough.
relationships don't work out, and anything to do with that is none of your business.
On one hand, I agree. On the other, he is a huge internet personality. 1 million subs that he had before, and the millions of watches that his YouTube had, is a huge internet personality. So in that case, I mean, his info gets out there. His personal life is sure to come into contact with other persons on the internet in some way, some capacity. But at the same time, it's also kind of right that personal relationships ain't got shit to do with us. Why do you think I haven't told you guys about any of my relationships? I haven't shown you any of my pictures or stuff. Or, you know, I think I have one picture on my Twitter about my relationship. One picture. Or I had, because I will delete it now that I think about it. I have it on other stuff, but it's personal. And it's a great point to not bring up personal stuff. It should be personal for that reason.
So what about the people who still want to support me? What can you do? Well, it would mean a lot to me if you could watch my YouTube videos again, either on this channel over on the gameplay channel. It would mean a lot to me if you would watch my Twitch streams, since I'll probably be there a bit more since it doesn't require as much emotional energy as making YouTube videos. There's a petition to get Dice Camera Action back on the air. If you want to follow that link in the description and sign that, I would really appreciate it. If you want, you can try to help combat all the misinformation that's still being spread around, either by sharing this video or engaging ill-informed people respectfully. And that's not going to be easy. There's going to be a lot of cognitive dissonance and the fear of social exclusion. It's going to be painful for some people, like a gear in their head suddenly going in the opposite direction. Nobody likes hearing that they're wrong. Be kind and be patient. If you would like...
You know what, it's fine to link his video in response to these allegations that people still do against him. But engaging your fans to inform, it's a gray area. I'm kinda okay with it, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know if you should do that.
Like to do more research on your own to continue being informed, there are a few places that I can point out. The original ProJared's subreddit was vandalized to hell and locked down, and the mods removed me from it and are refusing to relinquish control. So the ProJared 2 subreddit has a lot of discussion and additional information. There is a truth blog about the whole ordeal that is trying to make sense of it all. They're doing a pretty good job. They don't have everything, but they're doing a pretty good job. And there are a couple of YouTube videos that are mostly accurate. I'd also like to humbly request to stop harassing me. Don't harass Holly. Don't harass Heidi. Don't harass my friends, especially those who try to stand up for me. Don't harass anybody. I know a lot of people reacted very emotionally to all of this, and they may have said or done things that they now regret. And if this someone is you, I want you to know I forgive you. And I hope that you can forgive me for anything too. And there will still be people who are still angry about it or won't accept the nudes blog thing or whatever. And that's okay. They are allowed to feel how they feel.
Obviously.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to be making videos talking about Final Fantasy or D&D or Magic the Gathering or whatever else that I want. I'll still be streaming. I'll still be doing my thing. I do have one more request. The next time you see someone being canceled with the mob attacking them and going after them, ask, what's the other side's story? Is there more to this? How do you know they deserve to be bullied and shamed? Through evidence or through public opinion? Nobody likes cancel culture until they get an opportunity to cancel someone.
Okay. It's not an apology video, to say the least. It's not a blame video either. It's just a let's clear up things video kind of stuff. It was a good video. He composed his evidence that he had. He tried to take one thing at a time. And he tried to explain his side of things. He didn't say he was in the right. He never said he was in the right. But he also said that some people were liars, and he had evidence for that. I'm glad that he didn't really bring up so much about the relationship issues. Just a little, some minutes in the end there, 4 minutes maybe. That I liked, because they need to sort that out themselves. I'm glad I watched it. So far I've recorded for 1 hour and almost 30 minutes. And I'll probably edit down some of the things, but I won't remove anything from this video, because I myself want this up as well. I want this to... See, YouTube videos are great when you want history to still be there after all these years. I hope I was in the wrong because I jumped on the train and like, haha, fuck ProJared, am I right? I did. And let's see if I can find anything about that. Okay, it's my personal Twitter, but whatever. You can see it, I don't give a shit. This is even my pinned tweet. This is beautiful to see. I wrote ProJared disorder under 1 million. 43 likes, 2 retweets. One of my most liked tweets. Most interacted with tweets of all time. Yeah, 11,000 views and stuff. I don't know, man. Maybe I'll remove that. Does he deserve my forgiveness? Maybe, if he proves himself. Because you can't just make a video and everything will be forgotten. If he can keep this up and prove himself, then maybe I'll forgive him someday. Or forgive him is the wrong word. Maybe look over this incident is the right term to use. Because why should I have the power over him in any way, realistically? Okay, so I'm just rambling at this point. I'm very sorry about that. It was very interesting to see this full video. He had some great takes. I respect him for putting it out there. I agree with some things he said. I disagree with some that he said. That's just how it is. I will say though that I'm, at this point in time, I'm fairly neutral in this. I don't really like ProJared again, but I don't really like Heidi either, to be honest. Oh well, now you see me. I hope you watched this entire video, and if you didn't, it's fine too. I still enjoy you watching, supporting me in any way possible, and overall just showing that you care about my stuff. If you didn't like this video, please let me know, and I'll stop making these drama reaction videos. If you did like it, you can also let me know down in the comments. And you can of course subscribe, because I've got a lot of things going up this fall. a lot of things. A huge You know what? I'll not say anything. It will be a surprise. But anyway, thanks you guys for watching. I hope you'll have a great one. See ya.